Okay, the first part of this project is we're going to be building the background for our jungle. A background is anything behind your main things in your picture. So for our purposes, it's going to be our tree, our leaves, our dirt, and our branches. Then I'll build all my animals and my leaves and flowers on top of that in the foreground. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our brown paper and we're going to fold an accordion fold to make our tree. An accordion fold starts from one end. You're going to carefully fold your paper away from you, crease it. Then I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to fold it back towards myself. I'm going to flip again, fold away from myself, making sure to crease as I go and trying to fold the same amount every time. I'm going to flip and then fold. And once it's folded, it looks like an accordion. So I have alternating folds. I'm going to take this and I'm going to glue it to the edge of my paper to form my tree. So I'm going to glue one side down and put glue on the other edge as well. I'm going to make it look almost like a tunnel so that just those two edges are glued down, not the inside, so my tree can pop off of my paper. Give it a little pinch. When I hold it up, see how I can still get under there. So that is our accordion fold for our tree. The next technique we're going to do is we're going to be tearing our paper. So to tear something means to rip. We're going to be ripping the soil layer for our jungle. So I'm going to take the paper in between two hands and I'm going to pull it towards me. And I'm going to rip them or tear them into small pieces. And I would like to use a combination of dark brown and light brown for my soil. Do they have to be perfect? No. To tear something means you want that rugged edge on it. I'm going to finish tearing my paper. Then I will take this litter layer, the soil, the decomposing leaves and fungus and insects, and then I'm going to glue them to the bottom of my jungle. So I'll take my glue stick. I'm going to put the glue onto my paper. Instead of gluing piece by piece, I'm going to put the glue down here, all in one layer. Then I'll take my litter layer, my torn soil, and I will start building it on top of each other, overlapping as I go to build up that soil. I'm going to make sure I cover all of my glue so nothing is left. No little piece of glue is left on there. Notice I will have a little pile of torn paper left over. That's okay. I can share it with a neighbor who might need some extra. We will recycle the rest. So that is how you tear the soil for your litter layer. I have a little bit of space underneath my tree, so I'm gonna sneak some glue in there and glue on my last pieces of torn paper for my soil. It's not meant to look perfect. If it was meant to look perfect, then we would use scissors. But I like the way the rough edges look for my litter. Okay, great. The next technique we're going to be using is called spikes. And we're going to make spikes for our grass. So I'm going to grab my green paper. And this is going to be for our grass. So we want to have some spiky lines or some very pointy, skinny triangles. To do that, I'm going to start with my paper vertical. And I'm going to take my scissors. And I'm going to start cutting very skinny triangles. But I'm not going to cut through the edge. I'm going to stop at the end and I'm going to turn up and make another triangle. And I'm going to continue this line of spiky triangles all the way down the length of my paper. Now I can decide this one I want to have shorter. It's up to you how spiky, how skinny you want to make your spikes or your blades of grass. I'm leaving a nice band at the end because this is where I'm going to use to glue onto my jungle. We're starting to add layers to our jungle. Just like our rainforest has layers, so will our jungle collage along our forest floor. So I'm going to keep almost cutting back and forth, making sure to alternate my scissors as I go the direction, twisting my hand to help guide the spikes and the paper until I get to the edge. Almost there. Now the great thing about this is when I cut one, I'm actually cutting 2 layers at once. I will have a top and I will have a bottom. I can add 2 layers at once to my jungle, or I can choose to just use one of the layers, depending how much grass I'd like to have in my jungle. So when I'm at the end, now it is fully apart. When you stack them, you can alternate them. Okay. I will take my jungle back. This time, I'm going to glue. This one I want to trim so I don't have this big of a jungle or as big of a layer for my grass. Now I can choose to go over my tree or just to the edge. So I kind of like how it's overlapping. I'm going to put glue along the bottom edge of my jungle. I'm going to put one layer up a little bit, just like that, gluing it on. And then the second layer I'm going to put down towards the bottom. Now I still want to be able to see a little bit of my litter layer, my torn paper, when I go to glue this on. This is also great to use if you have 2 different colored greens. You could have a light green and a dark green and alternate the grass colors there. So I will add my other layer down here. I like that my grass can be, the edges do not have to be glued down, so it adds a nice layer of texture to my collage. The last thing I'm going to talk about is how to twist a branch. So I'm going to take a strip of brown paper and I'm going to cut this a little skinnier so it's not so wide for my tree. Put it right down the middle. Now to twist means I'm going to turn the paper onto itself and kind of curl it around. And I want to twist and twist and twist. And kind of give it a good squeeze because I'm making a tree branch. So I want to add texture to it. So now my paper is twisted and this makes a lovely tree branch for my jungle. I can glue it on or I can staple. So I'm going to actually staple so it pops up. I have a little stapler here. I'm going to put both layers through the stapler and push down, making sure my fingers are not in there. That way my branch will not fall off. And I can do the same thing over here with my tree. This adds a great level of dimension to my jungle paper where my tree branch is coming off of the paper. Okay. The final step I'm going to do is I'm going to make a vine to hang down for my jungle. So I'm going to take my green, long, skinny rectangle strip, and I'm going to add some waves to it. So I'm going to just cut a wavy line all the way down. It's going to look like a snake, which is another technique I can use for making a snake, is the same way I make a vine. And keep the wavy line going. Now I can take my vine and I can twist it around my branch and have it coming down. I will put a little bit of glue here where I'd like my vine to stick. And I'll put another little bit of glue up here on my tree. This will also cover up my staple. So that is how you add a background for your jungle and you start building up your levels.